Hey Commanders fans, if you're a true supporter, you already know the 2024 season is on fire. But have you stopped to think about how far this team can go? Get ready, because what I'm about to tell you will make you want to stay tuned until the end. Let's talk about what's really happening with the Washington Commanders and why we might be witnessing one of the biggest surprises in the NFL in recent times. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now. Turn on the notifications because there's a lot more content coming. Starting with the current situation, the Commanders have 4 wins and only 1 loss so far. Who would have thought we'd be like this after 5 games? The most impressive thing is that we're not just winning, but dominating our opponents. The last game against the Cleveland Browns was a 34-13 blowout. But you know what's cooler? That score doesn't even show how superior we were. The defense was a wall, and the offense, led by rookie Jayden Daniels, was overwhelming. Daniels, my friends, is working magic on the field and has already put Washington at the top of the NFL in points scored, averaging 31 per game. Speaking of Jayden Daniels, he is undoubtedly the most talked about name among fans. Many of us were skeptical at the start of the season, not knowing what to expect from this rookie QB, but he's already showing that he's here to be one of the greats. The confidence and accuracy he demonstrates on the field are surprising for a rookie, and it seems the franchise's future is very well set with him. What do you think? Can we trust that he'll continue this upward trajectory? Now, one of the strongest points we've seen in this team is the defense. The performance against the Cleveland Browns was a show apart. Deshaun Watson was sacked 7 times. To give you an idea, in 4 weeks the Commanders had only managed 8 sacks. In other words, our defense practically doubled the number of sacks in a single game. This is very, very positive, because a solid defense makes the difference in the decisive moments of the season. But then comes the question, how good can we be? Let's take it easy. Despite the 4 wins, none of them were against teams with a positive record. Our opponents so far have a combined 6-14 record this season. The only team we faced with a more balanced campaign was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who beat us 37-20 in Week 1. Of course, the team has improved a lot since then, but that game was a reminder that we still have a long way to go. And that's where the real test begins. On Sunday, we're facing the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are coming off 3 straight wins and are 3-2. This is the first big challenge for us, a rising team with a dangerous defense. If Washington gets through this, then we can seriously start talking about competing for the NFC East title. And speaking of that, our division rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys, haven't started the season as well as expected, but we know we can't underestimate them. Both still have a lot of potential and are direct opponents in our race. Now guys, pay attention to what's coming next. If we beat Baltimore, the real key game will be in Week 11 against the Eagles. That's because it's a prime-time game, a Thursday night, that will put us face-to-face with the current NFC champion. And right after that, in Week 12, we face the Cowboys. In other words, the final stretch of the season will be a true trial by fire, with 4 of the last 7 games against these 2 division rivals. Everything is open, and each game can define our destiny. At this point in the season, teams will have watched plenty of game film to prepare against opponents. This means the Commanders will face more well-adjusted defenses and coaches ready to neutralize our strengths. And that's where the big test for Jayden Daniels comes in. So far, he hasn't had to carry the team on his back in a critical endgame situation, but that moment will come. Will he be up to the task when it happens? We don't know yet, but from what we're seeing, confidence is high. An example of how we can handle pressure was in Week 2 against the Giants, a more contested game where kicker Austin Seibert was the hero with 7 field goals. This shows that the team can win in different ways, and this is the kind of versatility that can take us far. Offense, defense, special teams. We're showing we have several weapons at our disposal. But will it be enough against elite teams? Looking ahead, even if we stumble in some crucial division games, it's undeniable that the Commanders have already exceeded many expectations. Before the season started, few people bet we'd be talking about a campaign with real playoff chances. And here we are, discussing the possibility of a season with 8 or 9 wins, something that seemed distant just a few months ago. Now, if you're eager to know the latest news about our team, I'll tell you right away that things are heating up. There's a significant change in the quarterback lineup before the big showdown against the Baltimore Ravens, and this could be the decision that defines the direction of our season. So, stay with me until the end because I'll tell you everything that's happening behind the scenes, and of course, what to expect from this epic battle that's approaching. The Washington Commanders have been surprising this season. After a tough year with only 4 wins in 17 games, we're now at an incredible 4-1. Who would have thought, right? Rookie coach Dan Quinn and our young QB Jayden Daniels have been doing an amazing job transforming this team. We knew this change would take some time, but look at the difference. We're starting to see a new era forming, and the match against the Ravens will be the biggest test so far. Daniels against Lamar Jackson. 2 explosive quarterbacks, 2 teams with a lot at stake. Can it get any better? But before talking about this gigantic showdown, let's get to what matters. The change in the command of the most important position on the field. The big news is that Marcus Mariota is back. That's right. He returned in the last game against the Cleveland Browns, and now, with him recovered, Coach Dan Quinn made the tough decision to release Sam Hartman. It's news that caught some by surprise, but it makes sense within the team's strategy, especially with Mariota healthy again and ready to contribute. Sam Hartman, who came as an undrafted rookie from Notre Dame, had few chances to show his worth. He entered the preseason with some enthusiasm, but ended up as the 4th on the quarterback depth chart. Now, with Mariota's return, he was released, and the expectation is that he will return to the practice squad. Despite this, we cannot overlook what Hartman did on the field, even if limited by injuries. That's part of the game, folks. The NFL is like that, fast and full of twists. Speaking of twists, do you think this change will impact our performance against the Ravens? After all, we're talking about a team that also has one of the best records, with a solid 3-2 and a Lamar Jackson in top form. It will be interesting to see how Daniels and Jackson will face off. They are 2 quarterbacks who know how to use their legs as much as their arms, so you can bet there will be a lot of crossfire in this game. If the defense isn't sharp, expect a high-scoring game on both sides. Now, folks, just think, if the Commanders win this game, do you think Jayden Daniels could start being considered one of the main candidates for MVP? Because look, I'm already seeing some experts talking about it. The guy came in strong and is leading the offense in a way we haven't seen here in Washington for a long time. He's got that confident style, you know? It seems like he gets more comfortable in the pocket with each game, and when he needs to run, no one can stop him. It wouldn't be crazy if he started to gain buzz around. Another point worth mentioning is the work of our coach Dan Quinn. When he was hired, many doubted if he was the right guy to change the face of the team. But let's face it, he's proving the critics wrong. 4 wins in 5 games, and the team is getting more and more in sync. If he keeps this up, it will be impossible not to talk about him as one of the top contenders for Coach of the Year. Wouldn't that be epic? Back to Mariota, we can't forget that he brings important experience to the team. He has been a starter in the NFL, has experience, and can certainly be an important piece to support Daniels. In such a competitive league, having a veteran like Mariota ready to step in at any moment can be the difference between a win and a loss. It's that extra security every team needs. I just wonder, will Mariota have more space from now on, or will Daniels establish himself as the absolute starter? And speaking of which, what do you think of the decision to keep Daniels as the starter? The fans seem to be embracing him, but there are always those who prefer to see a veteran in charge. Personally, I think Daniels deserves every minute he's on the field. He's playing incredibly. But it's also good to know that if he has a drop in performance or gets injured, we have someone as capable as Mariota to take over. Now, the next game is crucial. If we manage to overcome the Ravens, who are one of the strongest teams in the AFC, this will solidify our status as contenders this season. There's no more doubting this team's potential. And let me tell you, if there's one thing that excites any fan, it's seeing an underestimated team turn things around and prove everyone wrong. That's what the Commanders are doing, game after game, and the match against the Ravens will be the final proof that we're on the right track. But now I want to hear from you. Does Jayden Daniels have what it takes to face a quarterback like Lamar Jackson on equal terms? Will he be able to lead the Commanders to victory in this decisive duel? Leave your opinion in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all the news. Let's go together on this journey and, who knows, towards the playoffs.